home team, cause all we do is win. Ladies and gentlemen, the time is right now. Right now. If you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there. But only a divine path will bring you right here. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the hub. Each one reach one. Each one teach one. If you are that one, then you already know that you are enough. Enough to get it all right when everything going all wrong. We know that your attention is the most powerful thing that you can pay. So if you're paying me some attention right now, in the moment, on the replay, I want to say I appreciate you. And I give my all to be worthy. Welcome to the hub. I want to give a shout out to my executive producer, my wardrobe coordinator. I say, baby, what I'm wearing today? She say, stop light green. I say, what that mean? She say, go. I say no more. I'm going to give a shout out to my homegirl, the greatest co-host in the whole world. Alexa. She would say, hold on. She had to go to the bathroom. Yeah, she will. Alexa, tell me something good.
We all we got. We all we need.
Y'all saw how she slid up in there. We all we got. We all we need. Alexa, one time.
Good God Almighty, Trav P, you blanking.
That means we're finna have a powerful show. Tonight's word is converge. 2025, first episode in the month of February, means this is the first episode of Black History. Hero Train. Converge. Alexa, what is the meaning of converge?
The meaning of converge is to move towards a common point or line, as lines that are not parallel.
To move towards a common point or line. If you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there, but only a divine path will bring you right here to the moment. The truth is in the moment. Converge. When we come from different directions, different points, but we meet at a point, a converging. Do we get the point? Do we understand where we're going? Alexa, what is the opposite of converge?
The opposite of converge is scatter or disperse.
To scatter or disperse. It's Black history, y'all. It's Black history. It's been a whole lot of rhetoric going around about Black history. They gonna stop Black history. They gonna change Black history. We so in fear and fret of someone taking Black history and changing it from what it is or what it should be or what it could be. There's a whole lot of rhetoric going around about Black history. But this is Black History Month. Wearing green because my wife say go. Know nothing about stop. So if you really want to understand Black history, listen to me, my brothers and my sisters. His story. Who is the him that his is referring to? If it's all about his story, his is in who? Well, when I think about his story, I'm talking about mine. His is him and him is me. Yeah, I'm him. So if I really want to understand it, see, you got to realize the most powerful knowledge is knowledge of self. Do you really know who you is? It's going to get real about it. See, because the history, see this father, the history starts in the roots. So let's talk about Black history. I wanted to know mine. I wanted to practice what I preach, and I wanted to be what I teach. So I traced my roots to understand my history. And as I went back generation to generation to generation, and I'm going to be open about the tools I use, because I want you to understand this real perspective of Black history. Not the rhetoric side, the real side. So I use the census, the United States Census. This is something that comes out every so often, every so many years. And this is why it's important for you to understand how history works. But I would go back to every census, starting with my grandparents. One census, they were like 9 and 8, and it would show in the household, it would show a man, a woman, my great-grandparents and all their children. And when I would read all of these names, I would realize to begin to put real reality to them. Okay, I remember my grandmama had that brother, that brother, that brother, and it brought me a sense of history of understanding. So then I saw the real name of my great-grandparents, and I went back to when they were children, and they was in this census where it was right there that their mother and their father was in a census style where they came and took the names down of this household, and it was a mother, a father, and their children, and so on and so on. I went back so far to when the census began, but before that it was slavery, and they were labeled as numbers. So it get kind of tricky, but I went back further as the name could go. Talking about Black history. And I'm putting real names of me in these time frames of what I've been taught about Black history and Jim Crow, slavery, all of these things. But I'm seeing real names that's a part of me. It's one thing that stuck out. It's one thing that stuck out in Black history. It's a man, it was a woman, and it was their children. That's what family is. A man, a woman, and his children. And the furthest I got back was 1810. 1810. There was a black man, a black woman, and their children. And I'm saying this to say, through all of the ideals of oppression, of hard times of Black people in America, I stand here today because of Converge that happened between a Black man and a Black woman that was powerful enough to withstand all the circumstances that we hear about and the atrocities that we endured. That was power converged. And it ain't that been long ago. It ain't that been long ago. That's why when I hear the saying say, we come a long way. But we got to question it if we go the wrong way. Because if you don't know where you're going, any path will take you there, but only a divine path will bring you here. It's time to go. We're talking Black history. We're talking Black history. I'm 45. This ain't nothing deep. My grandmama and granddaddy, they had about 8, 9 kids on both sides. Their mamas and daddies had about 8, 9 kids. Families. Family reunion right now, man, is based off them people. There was a conversion. The opposite of conversion is being scattered. We're talking about Black history. The power of Black power is the unity between a Black man and a Black woman that has a point of conversion, and at that conversion, there's an impact. The impact becomes life, becomes love, becomes me, becomes you, becomes everybody that has ever been here. Conversion. The opposite of conversion is scattered. Black history, when we was in the conversion of being together under Jim Crow, the same thing that we feel today. My granddaddy and my daddy can remember segregation. When there was a conversion of Black people. No matter where you came from. No matter how much you had, no matter how much you didn't have, no matter how educated you were, no matter how much you couldn't read, there was a time when there was a conversion of Black people through segregation that we had to be together. We had no choice. We talking about Black history. We had no choice. It's really what hero training is. I call it grandmama house. My grandmama had 9 kids. Out of her 9 kids, all 9 of her kids had different walks of life. I had 2 aunts that worked at Southern Bell in the 70s. And if you Black from the South and you know that your aunt worked at Southern Bell in the South, then that aunt was goddamn like the Cosbys damn near in the family. Oh, they was the ones with the money still to this day. And she had 2, 3 more babies that the drug era had caught. And she had other babies that was going through other things. But one thing, we could converge and come together at grandmama house with everybody coming from different ways. All of my cousins. And we understood that whatever made us different, we came together as a point to know that we are family and we all we got and we all we need. That was a converge. We came to a point. The opposite of converge is to be scattered. There's no more unity between the conversion of the Black man and the Black woman. The most powerful conversations between a Black man and a Black woman, it seems to be the most popular aspect of a Black man trying to tell a Black woman or a Black woman trying to tell a Black man how they are both fucked up or equally fucked up, to not realize that the unity is not converging anymore, and we are weak in a family structure and our kids are scattered everywhere. We talk about a conversion. Let's talk about Black history, y'all. The truth is in the moment. And this ain't about good or bad or right or wrong. It's about about being real. Ain't nobody above the bullshit, but the bullshit will make you better if you're real enough to deal with it. Some people got dealt some hell of a hands. Talking about black history. This the shit you can't teach in school. This got to be taught in the soul, at home, from the time a baby coming into this here world. You got to teach them what they is and what they will always be. That's the history. I'm talking about the makings of me. Do you know your black history? You got to understand. It's real life. I ain't talking make believe. You got to understand. Black history. There was a time, this real life. There was a time. I used to call these people like angels, man. Most of them dead and gone. When I was a young man fighting the fight, younger than I am now, there was older men, old enough to be my daddy sometime. That was real enough to show me they war wounds. Say, Trav, I was in the fight, man. I got dealt a hell of a hand, Trav. But they would look at me in the fight and show me their war wounds and conversate about things that happened and approach that they didn't really understand. But if they knew then what they know now, and the blessing of knowing it now is passing down this knowledge to a young man who's still vibrant in the fight. That's how you learn black history. So it ain't about being ashamed of whatever the circumstance if you're a part of something that's scattered and not converged. But if you got children, if you have turned the key and your position in the cycle has changed and you got children and it ain't about good or bad or right or wrong, it ain't about shame, it's about being real enough to know that I will at least give my all to push the baton of realness and righteousness. Because the history of our strength is in the conversion of that black man and that black woman. That's the most powerful thing on earth. If you can say it loud and you black and you proud, you are part of that conversion. That's some real raw history. But you got to know it. You got to know it, man. You got to know it. I use ancestry. And some people would get caught up in rhetoric to say, man, that ain't real. They playing with your DNA, whatever, whatever, whatever. Yeah, whatever, whatever, whatever. But let me tell you something that's real. I got a cousin, and I hope he's watching this. His name Tim Perry. I talked to him yesterday and said, cuz, I just want to sit down and talk to you, man. I know you got a hell of a story to tell. I want to hear his story. See how that works? But he had a daughter that found him through that. Traced the trail of searching herself to know her story. See, I'm talking real shit. She went on the trails of chasing her story. She was adopted. No idea who she was. But she went on a trail to find her story. Hers and who? I'm talking about my cousin Tim Perry, first story. Came out and found him. Reincarnation of his mama's first grandbaby. Reincarnation. Scattered. 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 With no idea of her story. I honor her so much and so much power. She put the work in to find her story. And her story converges with at a point. At a point. At a point, her story converges with mine. Because we share the same blood. So we talk about Black history. And I don't know if you know your history or not. But I ain't worried about the rhetoric of government or anything like that. If we're going to talk about stopping and starting, then it's go. And if you're going to speak rhetoric about the fear of anything about Black history, then do your history. And you teach it for those that need it and reach up for it. It's only one way to get old. That's don't die young. And if the goal is to get old, then what useful will you be if you can't tell his story? There's a power, man. Being genuine in the moment. And listen to another man tell his story. It's converge. Come together at a point. Man, I feel. That's unity. There was a time when we didn't have no choice but to be that. Talking Black history. Then in 1965, not very long ago, my daddy was born in 1955. Then in 1965, it passed the Civil Rights Movement Act, Stop Segregation. Martin Luther King fought for that legislation. And it killed Martin Luther King, killed JFK. These were two people who was truly fighting for legislation. They killed them. It's Black history. And they desegregated us. And I converged and got real weak. And we began to get scattered. Oh, we got so scattered. Oh, we got so scattered. This is Black history, y'all. We got so scattered. We got so scattered. Alexa, what is the meaning of converge?
The term converge refers to the coming together of multiple elements, whether it be lines that are not parallel or two parties with a common goal. Converge describes the process of multiple things heading towards a single point or decision. It can be used to describe both physical and metaphorical gatherings, and is commonly used to describe the meeting of lines on a graph.
Converge. Check it how it works. There was a time you had what they call a house name. Uncle Tom, talking Black history. And they would say, well, the Uncle Tom, the house, he was in there with the white folk. He heard what they said and he know what they were thinking and he was getting to listen. And then you had the field niggas. People who wasn't able to get up there in the house, the ones who better not get caught with a book, but the house kind, they was kind of round books, so they kind of listened from afar and kind of get a little bit of ideas on how to read and type things, and then the house nigga would come down to the field nigga and kind of eavesdrop out what he done learned and kind of enlighten them, so he became the teacher because he had the most exposure to the white folk. Yeah. Call him Uncle Tom. We called it a derogatory thing out of ignorance, out of readiness. I ain't lying. We really think Uncle Tom is an insult. And we don't realize that Uncle Tom is no more or no less than a character from a movie. At that time, it was a book from a story called Uncle Tom's Cabin. And what we call today, don't nobody read no books. Our main ideas of seeing things is movie. So Uncle Tom was no more than a character from a movie. But somehow, we ain't never really read the story. And we heard somebody who ain't read the story use Uncle Tom in a derogatory way. Because nobody really understood that this came from a book or a story, and we ain't never had the idea to read the story to understand who Uncle Tom was. We just ran with the narrative that Uncle Tom was a sellout motherfucker, and anytime you see somebody who act like they dealing with white folk, we call them an Uncle Tom and we use it in a derogatory way. I'm talking Black history, y'all. Talking Black history, y'all. But we ain't never read the story that was written by Harry Beecher Stowe about Uncle Tom's Cabin. And Uncle Tom was a noble man. A man with dignity and pride and integrity. I'm talking about, man, a leader in the conversion and out of the conversion. Kind of like the whole idea of Robin Hood. I'm talking about a leader of the people. I'm talking about a people that understand what representation is. When they see they people go in the lion's den, they know that the people that represent them in the lion den is a wolf. You might say, well, a lion will kill a wolf. But the wolf say, we ain't never been in no motherfucking circus playing with no clowns neither. So Uncle Tom was a wolf in a lion's den. And those that looked at that wolf go believed in him. But somehow we ain't read the story. We took the narrative of somebody who will twist something and turn it round, upside down, and we'll run with that motherfucker the wrong way, and we use Uncle Tom as an insult. Who the fuck taught us that? Since we talking about Black history. Who gave us that wrong ass way in history? Because Uncle Tom was the real deal. Because I read the story and watched the movie. I go in the room. I don't expect nobody to feel me. But it's going to be a converge. We got to meet at a point where there has to be an impact. And that impact is what I'll take back to my people down in the field, who I love, trust, and believe in, the same way they trust and love and believe in me, to push me up there in that house, because they know I got the ability and the skill to communicate. And that ain't got to be compared to them in no way, because we all got our strengths and we all got our weakness. That's why we can meet at a point of unity and love each other in a conversion. Talking Black history, y'all. But because we ain't read the story, we hate Uncle Tom. We hate Uncle Tom. We hate Uncle Tom. And we don't even know who Sambo is. Sambo is the one stabbing you. Sambo is the one going along with the getting on. We hate Uncle Tom. And Uncle Tom is the one that's fighting for us. Talking Black history. We scatter. We scatter. See, there was a time, man, I'm talking about my grandmama and they mama. Talk about the word nigger. It's real subjective on how it makes you feel. It was used in a derogatory way. But it was used towards a particular group of people. We ain't them no more. We scattered. They will converge together. We scatter. We the opposite of them. Them were some strong, powerful people. Regardless of what you call them, if we can reach the point of understanding the reference of who we talking about, them were some strong people that had a convergence. The opposite of converge is scatter. We scatter. They really truly understood that they was all they had and they was all they needed. And just knowing that took them through the most atrocities that we can't imagine. The ideas and feels of going through the fingernails of what they endured got us out of our goddamn mind right now. We scatter. Ain't nobody above the bullshit. We scatter. We scatter, the opposite of converge. Grow up. The game don't change. The game don't stop. It stops when you die. If you in the game, if you listening to me right now, if there was a converge between a black man and a black woman that created children, we all are children that has gotten old. Life happens. Life happened. The game ain't stopped though. I was at a basketball game tonight. They was down by 30. I looked in the eyes of the losing team, being down by 30 with no chance to win. But I marveled over their eyes, looking in their eyes to see their soul, to realize what I'm saying at this here moment. They can't stop playing. The game's still going. They still got to thrive and try, knowing there's no chance of winning. empathize with that in pure admiration. So if there's no chance of winning the relationship, you're no different than them children who still got to fight and thrive and strive. Because the game ain't going to stop until you die. And if the cables are not connected, you got to find some type of conversion or impact where it come together. Whether y'all going separate ways or coming together, there has to be a common conversion. It ain't never too late. A solitude, a restitution of peace. So that can at least be the impact in our children's lives that will affect their children and their children. See, Black history, man, do your history. I promise you, do yours. Trace it on them centuries. You're going to see something powerful. And I don't know if you can see it now. I don't even think we understand the sense. They sent it to everybody in the mail. Did you feel it out? Think about this, man. Did you feel it out? Because I was able to trace my whole history through the census, meaning a black man and a black woman and their children who had a sense of pride of documenting their existence in this here American society. See, all this time together with the immigrant type of thing. See, you got the documentation, your existence in this here thing. See, the census is something real. Oh, Lord. We talking Black history, man. And if you so scattered and don't understand and you don't even feel them out, then you ain't even putting yourself down in nobody's story. They gonna go try to find their history. They ain't gonna have no story. Because you ain't telling them. God damn, that's deep. So everybody get them in the mail. Feel them out, man. So those that you have turned the key, that will turn the key, that will turn the key. They have the spirit to find themselves 4 generations back and find me. Boy, they gonna bring me back to life. They're gonna bring me back to life. Black history, I tell the story, man. Same way tracing my roots. Talking Black history. This is, well, if we're talking about Black history, who was here? Here, me, mine. But we kind of got the same story. That was a conversion. At some point, we gonna meet. I got to my grandmama. Her parents was Caroline and Rose. Caroline and Rose had 9 kids, and I knew all my grandma brothers and sisters. Aunt Irene, Aunt Adam, Uncle Hoover, Uncle Willie. You know, all of them. I ain't familiar with the names, but I got the one. Said Frank. Frank was a little baby when my grandma was about 13. So I called my grandmama. I said, Grandmama, I said, you had a brother named Frank. I ain't never heard you say nothing about Frank, Grandmama. What happened to him? And my grandmama said, who told you that? I say, well, Grandmama, I was doing my family tree, and I was trying to explain it to my grandmama. She was about 90 or so at the time, approaching 90. I'm trying to explain it to my grandmama, and she can't really understand what I'm saying, but she getting kind of Hampton, well, who told you about that? Who told you about that? And I said, well, Grandma, I found it on the internet. And leading up to that call with my grandma, I called my daddy, and my daddy said, I ain't got no uncle named Frank. And me and him got in a little debate, and he won't tell me. How the hell you gonna tell me what the hell kind of uncle I got? You can't tell me. And I'm just saying, hey man, I'm sitting here looking at it. Hey, Frank was real. So I called my grandma, and like I say, she didn't want to know. So I called my cousin Anita. I said, hey Nita, she the only daughter of my Aunt Adam. That's my grandmama's sister. Talking about Black History, man. I said, your mom ever tell you anything about her Uncle Frank? She said, yeah. Um, yeah, she said he died when he was like 4. He buried down there, Page Lane. She told me where he was buried at. And so I got to chewing on it, and I said, well, damn. If her mama told her that, why my grandmama ain't never told her children about Frank? So I got to start doing some things, man. They just started coming to me. I called my grandma. She opened up. She said, yeah, he died. I said, how he died, grandma? See, we talk about being grandmamas and granddaddies. Only way you get old if you don't die young. If you get old and be an elder, what good is you? You ain't got no story to tell you. Talking about Black history. I don't know what kind y'all talking about in school. Talking about the kind that start in your soul. If you don't know that kind, stop talking about it all together. So my grandma said, yeah, he died. I don't know how he died. I said, yeah. She said, I don't know how he died. She kind of shut down. We got to talking. It's just the power of it. And I'm going back to the year, man. I think it was like 19, might have been like 41 or something like that. Between 39 and 41, one of them years. And at that time, and technology and all the type of things we got now didn't exist. But she was the oldest there at the time. And there was no explanation. So I guess in human nature, when we don't have explanation for things, sometimes we use God as a reference. Or sometimes we use blame. I think in my grandma's case, it was more so blame. Because there was no explanation. But she carried the burden of that. Not having an explanation. She carried the burden of that in a painful way. So much that she never told her children about the situation and never spoke of that ever again in her life. Until me, searching to find who I am, cracked open something that had been sealed. A piece of truth in my story that had never been told before to no one. To no one. She said they treated me so bad. They treated me so bad. So her love, what she considered love, was rooted in this pain. Talking about Black history, man. Talking about Black history. Her ideas of love was rooted through pain. She had a painful love. Her lines, Mama Claw. At any time she felt that you would be in danger and she couldn't explain what would happen to you, she would hit you with her mama paw and knock you down. Mama gonna go to the other side of town and she don't know what's over there. And in her mind and in her spirit, it was love. Because not having an explanation had caused her so much pain, so her love would be determined by always having an explanation, and that's keeping you in her reach and keeping you in her control. She raised my daddy in me. She raised all her children in me. I can talk to all my first cousins. There's some type of negative disdain of feeling like our parents was negative to our dreams and never really supported us or saw the bigger picture, because all they knew love to be was a big old tiger paw that would knock you down and keep you where they could see you. When I unveiled it and realized what it was, I had so much empathy for my daddy. I realized we all children and has gotten old. He my daddy, but he a child that only know love through the filters of pain. And he just done got old. And he's 70 now. Still never felt what it really feels like to be filtered or unfiltered. So to understand that story brings me to the moment today. I had to take my son to the doctor. 15 to 16. Got out the truck. I said, hey man, some big mirror doors. I said, let's go wide. I want to walk into the mirror doors. I said, let's see what kind of father and son we look like together. So when I said that, he cracked a smile and a grin. But I saw him poke his chest out and get his posture right. And as we began to walk to the doors and we saw our reflection side by side, I could see the pride in him and I started smiling. Give my all to not filter it through pain. Because I understand the story. And I understand my position. It's deep, man. Real life shit. So we get up there, man. I'm taking him to the pediatric doctor. Same doctor he been going to since his very first visit. Actually, I say, excuse me, hey, at what age do they stop coming here? You know, we're never live with the newborns and this 6'2" kid sitting here. She said, when he 18, we laughed about it. I said, well, you too big to come in here with the newborns. We go back there to the room and we're waiting on the doctor to come. And I can hear the newborn babies getting shots and they're crying. And I tell them, I say, hey man, I hate to hear the newborn babies in pain. They're hurt. He said, yeah, I know. I said, what you mean? He was like, every time I ever got a shot, you always cry when I get a shot. So I said, man, what the hell you talking about? I was crazy. Not for real. Every time I get a shot, I always done looked at you and you cry. And all I could say was, that's how much you know I love you. I don't ever want to see you in pain. Even if I know the pain necessary. It hurt to hear my baby in pain. You feel me? I said, yeah. And we're riding and I realized, man, he been keeping count in resurrection. There's something that's going on in his mind. He keeping count and aware that I cry every time he done got a shot, every time in his life, and being aware that I've been there at every doctor's appointment that he has ever got a shot in his life. He gonna have a story to tell. See, he got a story to tell. I ain't know I cried every time he got a shot. I ain't know that. That's a hell of a story to tell. That's his story. So when we talk about Black history, yeah, I know the blanket side of Martin Luther King, all of that and everything. Yeah, but the real history, the one that they can't stop, and you ain't never got to use the word stop associated with it, is the one that's thriving and living in you. And if you know that and stand on that, then we'll start back having the conversion where we come together and meet at a point like at grandmama's house. When you can say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. When you can say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. I'm a black man. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I am a black man. I am a husband. I am a father. At least two, or at least one. If we can meet there and have a converge at that point, then the impact is powerful. A man as real as his reason. Nothing gives a man more of a reason than a woman. During slavery, coming out of slavery, in Jim Crow, the reason that our forefathers thrived and strived that we are here today was a man and a woman who created a family, and that family became the reason to endure and strive through any circumstance. If you don't have a reason, we'll keep on going and we'll never converge. We'll never meet at a point. My community are those that have a common sense of unity. I live in a community of family homes. A family is a man, a woman, and their children. These children go to the same school. Our jobs keep the community thriving and striving. Our sense of unity is the same. At some point, we would cross and converge to create a domino effect of power. These were once our powerful communities. Like I say, Grilltown. My great-granddaddy was a forefather, along with Bill Billingsley and 2 or 3 others. A group of builders and farmers and carpenters and masons that converged together to build a community in Charlotte, North Carolina that has a rich history. My granddaddy was born in 1920, who went to World War II, who came home from the war and became an independent contractor as a brick mason, who took me on a tour of his story of masonry in Myers Parks, along Elizabeth Road over up in that area to show me all the houses and basements that him and his fathers and forefathers built. Like history. You don't take nothing out of this, man. You don't take nothing out of this. The question is more powerful than the answer. The question is more powerful than the answer. What's your story? If you're a woman, what's her story? And I want to say that powerful when I say what's her story. When I say what's her story, I want to say this powerful. I want you to understand me when I say this. Man, woman, and their children. Man, woman, and their children. It takes 2 to make a thing go right. And she talking to you. I know she sound like a woman. And I know she sound like you. And it's cool to give her her own. Because she got a story. She got a story. Can't nobody tell her story like you. Because you her. He got a story. And I'm going to tell you. See how that works. And with her story and my story converge, the impact of that conversion is my children. And they got a story to tell. And they'll be telling me when I'm dead and gone. The same way I'm telling my story about people who dead and gone. That's Black history, y'all. That's Black history, y'all. And I want to say, man, in Converge, with everything going on, all the political rhetoric, said last week, I'm going to say it again. Religion versus politics. Two different arguments, same emotional response, same psychological traps. Can't never get the point. We only come from our emotions that's rooted in ignorance. Ignorance means when you rant about things you ignore. When you can't see things objectively, subjectiveness makes you ignore the truth. I'm just going to say this right now. Donald Trump's name right now has more power than the name of Jesus in a black person's mind in America. I could say green eggs and ham, come get it, my Uncle Sam. And if I just say at the end, Donald Trump, motherfuckers will lose their wigs. And if you think I'm wrong, then prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Something about the name. Oh, how I love the name. Jesus. It is the sweetest name I know. Oh, oh. Man, I say Donald Trump, y'all say fuck that shit. I don't believe in that one of them. That's how I know, objectively. Y'all dropping the ball on this over here, y'all. But that fear is bringing us back together to converge. We've been scattered for so long. We've been scattered for so long. They gave us desegregation and we integrated and we got scattered for so long. We got scattered for so long from the point that we can't just be black folk no more. I got a song with Brother Javon Clark say, hey, black folk, it's been a while since we talked. Hey, black folk, it's been a while since we loved one another. Hey, black folk, hey, black folk, hey, black folk. We just can't be black folk no more. We so scattered. We Democrats, we Republicans, we Christians, we Muslims, we Moors, we Qs, we Masons, we AKAs, we Sigmas, we any goddamn thing, in every goddamn thing. That we so scattered. And we can't even disagree to agree. If I say I'm a Republican right now, man, there's motherfuckers out here right now that just can't see past goddamn Donald Trump for shit, no matter what I say or do. We so scattered and trying to be every goddamn thing except for just saying, hey, black folk, it's been a while since we talked. I done the work. I done the work. You know who I am. And I got a first cousin that'll argue with me and tell me he a goddamn Indian. We want to be any goddamn thing. We were so scattered. Can't we just be black folk? I even settle for being a nigga if we can all disagree on it to know who he is, so we can converge and not be scattered. And if this fear makes us converge to meet at a point, man, I swear I'm all for it. Because we scattered. One of you single and doing the best you can, and you don't raise your children without a man. And show your daughters your war wounds and be sincere, open, and vulnerable, so that she see the mistakes you made, so that she can cultivate her balance and have a conversion and have some babies and truly love them and give them love in the right order. Don't be jealous of them. Men, you raise your boys to be better than you, and you realize at a point he come in that room 6'2", looking like something you ain't never been. Let your ego chill and accept the fact that you achieved your goal. You raised a man that was better than you, and you ain't got to compete with him and try to convince him what you was. These are the things that scatter us. Come back with a converge, so that the history can write its own story, and her can write her own story. To be powerful. And if we ain't trying to write them stories, and we don't realize how it works, that it takes two to make a thing go right. And we don't realize that families is a man and a woman and their children. And they have this so-called thing that's called sex, and sex makes babies. And if we don't really understand the power in this order and how much this ain't about good or bad or right or wrong, this is what's necessary for God to thrive and strive. And how can you be for any idea that goes against? This ain't about good or bad or right or wrong. It's about being accountable and accepting where people stand, but still being real enough to know that there must be a conversion at a point of truth. It's the only way we can go. The only way we can go. Black history. If all you got is a hammer, all you got is a hammer, all your problems gonna look like a nail. If all you got is a hammer, listen to what I'm telling y'all. Talking real life. I ain't talking make believe. We're dealing with a generation of children in ourselves that ain't never ever witnessed their mama or their dad in the true position and a conversion to black history that brought us here. And the only aspect of their mama they ever saw as love is with a hammer. Being strong. And so all the problems they ever saw their mama face, she only had a hammer and she hit that motherfucker like a nail. Pow! So if all you got is a hammer, all your problems look like a nail. You can't communicate. You can't agree. You can't empathize with where each other coming from to meet at a common point. Because we just bamming this shit out of each other like a nail. Because all we got is a hammer. And if you think I'm wrong or if you think I'm negative, prove me wrong, because that will become your history or her story. I love y'all, man. I'll get out of here, man. Converge. Alexa, what is the meaning of converge?
The meaning of converge is to move toward a common point or line, as lines that are not parallel.
Alexa, what is the opposite of converge?
The opposite of convergent is divergent.
Jerome, I love you, Jerome. Appreciate you coming, brother. Welcome to the hub. I love y'all. See y'all next time.